I would love to know, has there been an experience that you can share, and again, you can leave out details, names, places, whatever, if you have to, of kind of how you've used data in order to successfully launch a product? And specifically, I would, you get bonus points from me if there was a place where maybe it was unconventional, or it was pushing in a different direction than maybe the company had been known for before, or just was not maybe what people would have suggested. I would love to know if you have any personal experience from that you can share.
Yeah, actually, bit of an interesting story. So coming out of COVID, that ugly thing that we all trying to forget about, but consumer behavior has drastically changed. I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. During those years of lockdown, consumers got really comfortable with buying online. They got really comfortable to shopping in their underwear, shopping, however they wanted, whenever they wanted. Yep. So making that adjustment was very difficult in a brick and mortar space. And based on the data we looked at and a lot of insights we got from industry journals and industry research, we learned that customers really loved the comfort of being able to shop at home, that low pressure shopping experience. But they missed coming into a store. They missed touching and feeling product. Especially in apparel, the magic happens in the fitting room. Like me specifically, I got a weird shaped body. I really need a fitting room. So I'm the type of guy, if I can't get to a brick and mortar store, it's like I order 5 things and then I return 4 of them that don't fit right. So We learned pretty quickly that, again, using the data and some research studies from some other institutions and associations, that customers were going to come back to the store, but they wanted that online shopping experience. So it sounds kind of funny. What are you going to do? So this retailer that I was working with, they took great pride in making sure that every customer was greeted the minute they crossed the lease line. So, you spend that time to get ready, to get, in your car, to drive to this location, find a parking spot, cross the lease line. And the minute you get in the store, someone's like, what can I help you find? And you're like, whoa, like,
pump the brakes.
Let me catch my breath here. Like I'm just walking in. There's a lot of great memes about this where, the greeter or the greeters, there's some cosmetic retailers out there that the minute you walk into the store, you got 3 or 4 associates, like single file stood up. Yeah. And you're just like, whoa. So what we really wanted to do was, it sounds crazy, but we wanted to almost ignore the customer and give them some space. So we wanted to acknowledge them, whether that was with a smile or a hello, but we didn't want to jump down their throats or jump on their back right away. And that was very controversial. Everyone's like, well, what do you mean? Like, we're a retailer, like we got to greet them. And I was like, it's not that we're not greeting them, we're acknowledging them. But what we really want to do is create an environment where customer felt comfortable to buy versus pressured to buy, right? Like think of that feeling as yourself as a customer. You walk in and you have space to get your bearings, to start thinking about what is it that I'm here for? Oh, maybe I'll get something else, versus, the minute you cross the lease line, someone peers in and is like, what can I help you find? And you're like, oh, give me a second. So we coupled a lot of data from both what we had from our NPS and VOC scores and how our customers were behaving on our site. We coupled that and paired it with a lot of research from the industry. And we devised this solution. And what we found is we saw some great results. Our CSAT scores and our NPS scores went way up. And we actually had a lot of customers saying, did you add more people to the store? Like, it feels like there's a lot more associates in your store, when really we were in a cost reduction phase and we were actually pulling payroll back. So it was very interesting to see how our customers reacted to that. And, selfishly, it was great because it was validated what our strategy should have been from the get-go. So again, just looking at how that customer felt when they walked in and trying to marry it with that online experience versus that in-store experience, and trying to bridge that gap a little bit to provide them with that space. And again, our main objective was to create an environment where the customer felt comfortable to buy versus a high pressure shopping experience. Man,
what a counterintuitive solution. That sounds like it worked very well. So that, even just me listening to that, I relate to that. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm being forced. I'm pretty comfortable talking to salespeople and associates, and usually when I'm at a restaurant, I'll ask the server, like, what's your favorite thing, or what do you eat, right? But that's, again, there's a difference between like being kind of social and conversational and feeling like you're talking to a used car salesman who's trying to just get you to walk off the lot with the
get that commission or get that
absolutely
sale. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know this is a super broad question, and so you can answer it in any way you like, but when it comes to the customer experience, okay, walking in a store, getting over the lease line, and then kind of past that maybe first point of contact to someone just acknowledging them, are there any other, like, what other aspects, I guess, of the customer experience, especially in a retail environment, do you love the most, or do you think are the most important to kind of think about or emphasize, or is maybe something that is overlooked as like a real opportunity? So I'm, in my mind, I'm thinking of, maybe it's a restaurant owner that's listening to this. Maybe it's someone with a used bookstore, or their own, private, small little boutique clothing shop or something like that. But what are kind of some of the other things, from your experience on the larger retail side of things, that you love to think through and maybe problem solve, or just focus on the customer experience side of things in a retail location?
Yeah, so I'd say at the smaller level, I mean, you can never, ever take your foot off your associates. And that, not to sound like pressuring them, but you never lose sight of what value they actually provide. Because whether you're a small-time pizza shop owner or bookstore owner, like, unless you're going to be there 24/7, you really got to rely on your people. And your people really make the magic happen. And even in that previous example, there's a lot more to that strategy that I didn't talk about, where our our associates would circle back with that customer and look for cues on how to engage. So I think the most important part is, outside of your product or your service offering, is just how your people are to engage with them. You might have a plumbing business, you have 3 or 4 guys on the road. You can't be at every single customer house. You can't interact with every single customer. So how is your associates and your team representing you? And how are they making that customer feel about the purchase that they've made, or the service that they've solicited, or that solution that they get, right? So, the associate is at the heart of everything you do, and the associate is at the heart of your customer experience. They are your biggest brand advocates. They are they're your front line. They're your, they make your first impression, they make your last impression, and they create that value. I think as you scale up more into mid-market and bigger retailers or biggest service offerings, I think a trend you see that I'm actually really excited about is a lot of the digital enhancements stores are making. I think Uniqlo does a really cool job on having self-serve checkouts in apparel, which is, that was a super, adverse, and like everyone was kind of like, what are they doing? Like, this is going to have massive loss prevention problems. But you know what? The research is showing that it's working really well, and a lot of retailers followed. And I think what you'll see more is an evolution of this digital experience in stores. You see a lot of stores now, especially in the apparel space, with digital fitting rooms, where you can scan items. Yeah, so digital fitting rooms, it's really cool programs. And what it does is there's a scale of it. So there's some fitting rooms where when you get into the fitting room, you can scan the product, and it'll give you all sorts of product information. It will tell you what it pairs well with others. So, if you're buying, like, let's say like a blazer, and you scan that blazer into the fitting room, or RFID picks up, and this, screen will turn on and say, hey, that's a great blazer. You can really dress it down with like this nice pair of jeans. Let us know if you want us to bring you a pair. And there will be an option in that digital fitting room to, signal for an associate, and that associate will get a cue on their device being like, Aidan's in the fitting room. He's trying on this, Calvin Klein blazer, but he'd like to, check it out with a pair of jeans. He's a size 34. Can you bring him these jeans? So it creates almost like a personalized shopping experience, almost like a personal assistant in the fitting room. Now, on the online space, there's some really cool technology coming out of Europe right now, where online, they'll get to know you. So you can set up a profile for yourself. Some companies go as far as you entering your measurements. So they'll show you how to measure your chest, your arm length, your neck, your waistline, your pant leg, everything. I'll show you how to do it. And it will create a profile. And on this online experience, you can almost do like, it's like augmented reality. Like you can actually dress your
avatar,
your avatar, if you will, with different products to see how things can fit and work. So for instance, if you're starting a new job, and you want to get some different outfits together, but you don't want to spend a great deal of money, you can actually click and drag and play with how those products will fit, but how those products will look with each other. So there's some really cool stuff going on from an augmented reality perspective, from an in-store digital reality, experience. And then augmented reality is huge, especially in like the homeware space. Mm-hmm. So, you can take a photo of your living room, and then you can go to a retailer, the ones who do it really well, and you can actually plug and play their furniture into your house. Mm. So you can say, how's this sectional going to fit? How's that armchair going to look in that corner? And it really gives that customer the ability to make sure A, it fits, B, it looks good, and C, that they're happy with it. So that's where you're kind of toying with their heart a little bit. And it's really elevating that experience for them to get them to click that they want it. So there's a lot of great enhancements that mid-market to larger scale retailers are making, both in store and on their sites, on the direct consumer space. But again, I think rooting back to smaller businesses, even the biggest businesses, the biggest Fortune 500, companies, what they do really well is they focus on their associate, and they really empower their associate. They get them inspired, they get them behind the brand, and they really drive that business for them. So actually, one of the companies I worked for, Home Depot, one of my favorite things about them was they had this pyramid, and it was an inverted pyramid. And you think that the CEO would be at the top, or you think the customer would be at the top. And as a customer experience guy, I would want the customer at the top. But I thought it was really cool. They had the associate at the top.
Wow.
So no matter what, everything they did was rooted in the associate, because their biggest saying and one of their biggest values is, if you take care of the associate, they'll take care of your customer, and everything will follow. And I still get a little goosebumpy thinking about it, because you really see that with the way they operate, and it's truly inspiring. And that was an experience I took with me through, and will take with me as I continue in my journey here with consumer packaged goods, retail, and DTC. So I know that was a broad question, and that might have been a long answer to a short question.
Dude,
but
I loved it.
That's some of the, I think, where business owners, large or small, should really focus: the associate, and then how can you evolve your experience with technology, especially as these younger segments of customers are growing up and becoming, having more disposable income. You really want to focus on that, and not to leave your, let's say, less tech savvy customers behind, because you even see a lot of those stereotypical customers really adapting well to that technology and really picking up and adapting to it. So